If you ever lie awake at night wondering why your business isn't performing or producing the way that you thought it would or should, you feel like you're doing everything right and that other people are doing so much better than you, which, by the way, is another vlog that you should check out. I'll put it in the show notes for you. Then you're not alone. I've actually been there myself. And so I was lucky enough to be chosen to speak on the Money Mindset and Momentum Summit this past week. And I'm going to share with you my one, two, threes for how to take your business from mediocre to mind blowing. Sound good? Wonderful. Okay, so if that was you at any point in time, remember, number one, it's kind of hard to talk about it. So when people say, how are things going? We keep a positive mindset. Whereas remember, I'm not a fan of mindset, I'm a fan of mind flow. So we're stuck in the idea that we have to say, oh, it's going great. And we need to embellish a bit on how it's all going, right? And some of that is good. You've heard me talk about having positive expectations before, but it's not if it's keeping you awake at night because you're feeling like you're lying to yourself and you're being unauthentic. Okay, so part one today is all about why your business isn't doing as well as you thought. Oh, excuse me, I'm getting excited using my hands. The presentation that I gave was going beyond, right? The more effective way to goal setting and business plans. So let's start with the foundation. And that is that most of us have been trained to believe that good enough is good enough. It was either a mindset that was adopted by our parents or grandparents to not be greedy, to not have too high of expectations, any type or version of that story. So good enough is good enough. And what's interesting about this, I learned the most I had ever learned about this idea in my entire life, breaking the mold of good enough is good enough, right? Going beyond that, what's called the glass ceiling and breaking through, was in a paper that was presented to me about the pillars of white supremacy. Now, don't get your panties in a bunch. It's not exactly like it sounds. I am a minority, Latina, female, senior citizen, all of those categories. And when I read the paper, I looked at it and my mind was blown. I'm that pillar. Oh, I'm that pillar. It's just the way we were taught, especially when we were, well, I was born in the 60s. And so for those of us that are between the ages of, I'm going to say maybe 35 and 65, you're going to know what I'm talking about. That paper is going to be mind blowing. It's in the show notes. I promise. You can go look at it at a later time. It's a quick and extremely valuable read. I highly recommend that you start there before you watch the rest of the series because this is a three-part series. So today we're talking about why your business isn't performing or producing the way you believe it deserves and should be doing so. Okay, so number one, good enough is good enough. We're going to eliminate that mindset and get into the mind flow of what does good look like for my business? What does successful look like? How can I get there and who can help me? Right? Those processes are also from another vlog that I'll put in the show notes. Okay. And then secondly is because I have decades of research in neuroscience and the neuroplasticity, I want you to understand the importance of you have neuros that are firing the same way all the time. So no matter what you do, unless you get some kind of immediate result, for that dopamine kind of hit, you are not rewiring your thinking. So you can consciously, with your ego, think my business is successful until the cows come home, but nothing's going to change because the neural pathways are antiquated. They're sending you down that old dirt road when you don't have to go that way anymore. There's a better way to get to what you want. That is what I do, people. It's what lights me up. It's the reason why I'm here. It's to help you rewire those pathways so that getting what you want, your business, your love life, whatever it might be, becomes easier. It comes to you rapidly, properly, and under grace, which I love to say, because you are most deserving of all of that. But your ego will keep you from being able to have those things as a form of protection. Okay, so spend time with me if you really feel like this is the area that you're stuck. Okay, so watch your ego, which is the third one. Your ego is the other reason why you're stuck in that good enough is good enough, for lots of reasons. And I was speaking with Les Brown a while back, and He would use the term or define the term ego, ego, as edging God out, meaning blocking yourself from your true source, your authentic self, your path, and your desires, which is another thing that I assist people in getting on that path, finding that path, and then navigating that path. Okay, so if your business isn't doing or performing the way that you believe it should, because you sure have been giving it your all, mentally, emotionally, financially, time wise, it's because of one of these three things. Right? Either your ego is getting in the way, your neural pathways are antiquated in the way that they make you think, and that you have been trained to believe that good enough is good enough, or some version of that. Okay, so I'm Elle Grinnell, the founder of TrueSpeak, author of 3 international best-selling books, and so much more. I'm one of only a dozen people on the planet certified in a scientifically proven process to help you get what you desire, because you deserve it. So let's spend a little time together. And until I see you next week for part 2, how to get a board of directors at zero cost to you for your business. Stay happy and healthy, my friends, and bendiciones always and in all ways.